Welcome to the Wednesdays with Will podcast, where Will shares weird, wacky, and wonderful things that go through his mind on Wednesday.
Yo, what's good in the hood, homies? It's your boy, Willy Will. Welcome to the Wednesdays with Will podcast. And wow, graphics. This is Wednesdays with Will. We're out here in these streets. I'm a little discombobulated on today. You know, I did my cadence was a little off on the introduction there. And I think it was just because, you know, I'm less than, 9 days away? I'm 9 days from getting married out here in these streets. So I'm trying to get my feet together. Gotta get my water intake up so I'm hydrated to be able to consummate. You gotta be hydrated if you want to put in the wedding pumps. You feel me? You know, you gotta stay. You know, I can't be passing out here in these streets. I don't want to be a 2-pump chump out here in these streets. So shout out to water for holding me down and keeping me down so while I go down. Amen. Shout out to the chat. We got Daniel in the building. I see you, homie. We're out here live on Wednesdays with Will. If you would do me a solid, follow the Wednesdays with Will account on the platforms. That would be helpful. Though I'm not gonna hold you. We might go dormant here on Wednesdays with Will for a little bit because your boy getting hitched up. We going on the honeymoon. The last thing I'm gonna be thinking about is Wednesdays with Will. I'm just throwing it out there. You know, y'all are like the side piece for real. Y'all like the side chicks. I got my main girl, and y'all on the side. I can't put all my attention on you. Y'all the family across town. So my priority is to my fiance, my soon to be wife. Amen. And so we gonna be trying to get that right. I ain't about to be getting in an argument talking about you care more about Wednesdays with Will than me. It's like, no, it ain't about that. So y'all gonna have to hit the back burner if it comes to that. That's how it's gonna be. But man, I'm excited about this new life. But for now, let me just get it all up. Let me get everything I have off my nipples today, so I can be. This is like a bachelor episode. We're gonna call this the bachelor episode of Wednesdays with Will, because it's probably the last one as a single man. And so I started doing some things that I've always kind of wanted to do as a single man. You know, some people be wilding for their bachelor party. Me, I decided to go on a ride along. It's just something I've always wanted to do. So Monday I went on a police ride along, man. It was a good time. And you know what the number one thing I learned from a police ride along is the police are not serious. The police are a group of the most not serious, the most unserious individuals out there, man. These people are not serious. I was on a 10-hour shift. It was the evening shift. Started at 2, ended at 12 midnight. When I tell you we probably had like 7 calls, which if you think of the grand scheme of things, that ain't much, man. We pulled over one person, and it was just because they're like, hey, you want to pull this person over for fun? I said, for fun? The cop I had, first of all, it was a lady cop. Hey, man, there was actually a couple. There's a lot of lady cops out here in these streets. So I rode with this lady cop, and then she had another like partner cop that was also a lady. They had their own squad cars, but they did everything together basically. And these people, the way they were unserious, the way they tag teamed this one person who just rolled a stop sign, they're like, yeah, we'll pull them over for fun. I said, man, they just ruined their day. But they're like, you know what? I don't be handing out tickets. They literally said, unless you got like insurance, or like, you ain't got to worry about tickets from me. So I learned a lot of loopholes that I can take for now being on the other side of things. That these police, they really ain't cared about. Now, like, the amount of calls that came up on the little computer that they're like, nah, fam. They said, nah, fam, I ain't going there. They're like, oh, there's a civil disturbance. Oh, man. And don't let it be something at the end of their shift. The end of the shift, there has to be like a mass shooting for them to want to go there. They're like, we ain't trying to get stuck up on the end of our shift. So it was about 11:30, and a call came in about a wrong way driver on 820. They said, nah. They're like, that's gonna be a major accident. We're gonna be stuck here till 4 in the morning. I'm trying to get off on time. They said we sitting right here at the station. You know what we were doing? We were the 2 cop cars. You know how you see the cop cars? They're like facing the opposite directions. They just be window to window. You know, my whole life, when I seen that, I always thought they was up to some like some intense police work. You know, they're looking, they're sketching like a murder suspect in the area that they're trying to find. They're scouring the area for a known criminal on the loose. But you know what they really do? They trying to figure out what they want for lunch. The amount of times we up there with another cop and it's the most unserious conversation talking about what do you want from Sonic? Y'all want to go over to the Chick-fil-A? Or I need to go to the bathroom. Let's go over to the QT. Because, man, you know, of course, like I said, I rode with a couple of lady cops. So that was a whole nother situation. They just trying to go to the bathroom. They got to take their whole police belt off and everything. So it's like a whole ordeal. And so, like, we stopping at QT every 2 hours just for bathroom breaks. I said, what's going on? But it's crazy, man. It's crazy the amount of unserious business and the amount of things. I'm telling you, you could get away with just about anything. It was the end of the police shift because they ain't trying to pull you over. They trying to go home on time. Here's basically to sum it up. Here's what I've learned. The police are just like anybody else. Anybody working any other job, right? It's just a job to them. We look at the profession as it's so profound, as this and that. And there is respect to a police officer. And their worst day can be tragic, obviously. But at the end of the day, then these folks just trying to get home and get back to their wife and kids or get back to their family or whatever they want to do. At the end of the day, they're no difference than, you know, some homie that works at Big Lots and some customer makes a disturbance. There's a cleanup on aisle 5. And it's 5 minutes before they get off. They're like, I ain't about to clean that up. That's going to have to be the next shift. That's just about the same mentality for the police officers. If something like that comes up, oh, man, there's a fender bender here it's in my district, but it's like, man, it's the end of my shift, man. I'm trying to get out of here, man. They don't have to figure that out on their own. That's why, you put in something petty, you see the cops answer that call like 5 hours later because it was like, they was there. The amount of times, at one point, there was like, man, there's a call right across the street, but I ain't going there. But I appreciate the honesty. Hey, here it is. The cause, I appreciate the honesty. They didn't front like they were these high and mighty people. You know, we going to serve everybody to do our best, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're like, they treated me like I was just like a cop in training. A regular individual, and I was like, that was the end of the day. I realized, man, these people aren't serious, man. They are not that serious. But man, a lot of free food, You cops, y'all get some good perks, man. I ain't gonna hold you, y'all get some good perks. I ate good, and it wasn't just the donuts. Y'all probably thought we got the donuts, man. I ain't got name one donut the whole ship. But what I did get was hot dogs and burgers, because we went up to this church. This church was having like a Bless the Badge event. They were like blessing police officers and whatnot. So I got to go as an honorary police member. And I guess I got blessed too. And I got blessed with the burgers. So I got some burgers, some dogs. Before I could really even get my mustard together though, my cop was like, we got to go. There's a robbery in progress. I said, what? I ain't signed up for this. And we sprinted, man. We sprinted up out of there. We hit about 80 miles per hour over on Beach Street to get over to this Walmart that apparently some lady had held up the cashier at gunpoint. And I was like, hey, hold up. And so, now we're staking this neighborhood they're trying to look for because I guess she got away originally. And they ended up tackling her would-be or her assumed accomplice. This dude, oh man, this is where it got a little tragic. Some black dude who matched the description of the dude that they thought she was with was in the area that we were patrolling. So I saw my cop get out, tackle this dude. Oh, I said, oh, this dude's screaming, what y'all doing? I ain't doing nothing. Oh, yeah. And then he going crazy. Everybody coming out of the woodworks in the neighborhood going crazy. It was crazy. So here's where it got a little testy for me. As as a black man, you get all the things. Do police target? Do you do this, that, and the third? From what I observed and what I understand, and the information I got, because I can literally see what the police. She showed me everything she was going through. you don't get a lot of information as a police officer. So I will give them the benefit of the doubt more often than not. When you get a call that there is, like in this case, it was like a black male with dreadlocks that had been seen with the person who robbed the lady in the area. Then literally the area we're patrolling, black dude with dreadlocks just comes walking in by himself. Naturally, they gotta investigate, and so they're intense. Show me your hands, get down on the ground, all the things. But if you're, here's the thing, if you're innocent, just you kind of just comply. And for some reason, I don't know why, my people, we're just more susceptible to want to try to fight against the police, when at the end of the day, they're not trying to just hurt you. I mean, there's just like any profession, just like the people at Big Lots, there's some racist Big Lot worker. There is some racist cops out there, but at least in the district, and I'm in Fort Worth, I met a lot of minority cops. The lady I was with was of Latina descent. So was her partner. I met a black police officer. I met an Asian police officer. I met a lot of different diverse ones, and I didn't really see race as an impact of like, oh, we're looking for the black people out here. I think it's just black people seem to be a lot more susceptible to, want to fight back against the police, it makes no sense. Just don't resist. Don't do anything to agitate the officers. Just try to mediate the situation. If you innocent, it'll get figured out. All the dominoes will fall in the right place, because she literally mentioned another dude. She did a similar thing with this Mexican guy, and he was just chill. He was like, oh, no, this is not me, papi. No, not me. And they checked him out, got his information. Okay, you're free to go. And then ultimately, even this guy, he was released. He was free to go. We didn't end up on the next, 10 o'clock news hour. I mean, we could have if he started being crazy, pull out a gun or something, and then it would have been a whole narrative. This guy, innocent black man shot. It's like, okay, yes, you're innocent, but you don't need to instigate a situation. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. Anyway, that's what I observed on today, and I could be wrong. I don't have all the answers, and I only went on one shift, so I'm not gonna say I know everything. But what I know is, from what I see, man, the police get very limited information to go off of. They just get a call, they drive, and it's hard to read a whole computer while you're driving. Which, side note, that's a whole nother thing. How are the hypocrisy? The police officer was like, hey, look at somebody who's on their phone while driving, distracted driving. And I said, you have a whole computer. At one point, she got a computer here. She's on her own phone call on here. And she's in a pursuit. And I'm like, how are you talking about distracted driving? That's what this is. The amount of violations we committed. This one cop didn't even have his seatbelt on. I said, you ain't even got your seatbelt on, homie? That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's what I'm telling you. The most unserious individuals. The most. And gonna have the nerve to pull somebody up for rolling a stop sign. The amount of curbs we hit. I'm like, it's just a regular folk. Regular folk out here. It ain't nothing. I'm not trying to downplay it like there's nothing to being a police officer. All I'm saying is, they are just regular people, man. At the end of the day, that's all it is. And it's fun. It was a good time, though, man. It was a good time. You never know what you're going to get into. You're always busy, but never really swamped. I mean, unless it's a terrible day. Your worst day is just, your worst day is a tragedy in America, right? But you're dealing with everybody else's worst day, and it could be a petty call for you don't want to deal with, but that's their worst day. You give somebody a citation for speeding, that's their worst day, which my cop couldn't do, by the way. She's like, I don't even have a radar in this car. So apparently there's a specific patrol division that's all they do. It's just patrol the streets. If you see a regular cop, you gotta be real bad for them to pull you over. Because most of the time we were on the street, we were either responding to a call, even if our lights weren't on. The amount of times police are still responding to a call without sirens, without lights, is actually that was very interesting to me. Because I would say 75% of the time you just saw us driving, we were responding to a call, even if the lights weren't on. So, that being said, somebody would have to be just outrageously just wilding for us to like stop and pull you over because we were responding to something. Maybe an officer, Not I was about to say officer and assistance. If an officer needs assistance, the way we wailing out there, man, we hit like 90 trying to help out an officer once. And it was like 10 of us showed up. I'm like, man, what's going on? But yeah, there's not a whole lot of time that they're just out there. They have to make an effort. Like, okay, I'm gonna just patrol, and that's the only time they would pull somebody over. And they really ain't trying to do that. If they just chilling, waiting on a call, they in a parking lot back to back. Doing their little thing. Or one time we had 3 of us. We was like bam, bam, bam. So them cops, man, they just out there taking their breaks when they can too, because you never really you don't get like let me take a 30. It's like my cop said they can technically do that, but it's like the other cops be side-eyeing you, because you gonna take a break. Say you taking a 30-minute break, and now there's a robbery in your area, and you're like, I'm on break. See y'all later. It's like, come on, you can't really do that. So that's why they always kind of generally grab food to go, and they eat it in the car. At least the rookie cops. I get the impression the more hierarchy you have, the less serious you are about responding to stuff like that. You're like, the rookies got it. Because I was with some rookie cops. When we went to the burger place, or to the church that gave us the burgers, and that robbery call came in, the way we zipped out of there, but all the supervisors were like, I'm going to finish this burger first. The youngins got it. The youngins, dude. Not a problem. Anyway, it was a good time, man. All in all, it was a good time. I do it again. Got to hit up my brother Adam. I'm trying to go to a fireman ride along, man. I'm trying to watch some things burn. Firefighter ride along, which, by the way, was funny. There's a few fires that were in the queue that came in, and the way these cops were like, what are the firemen for? I ain't responding to no fire. It was like smoke detected, and a resident was like, smoke detected, you got the wrong department. We ain't going over there. There's a pretty good I would say I don't want to say beef, but there's just kind of like a disrespect, a disdain for the firemen around the police. So, brother Adam, I'm sorry about that. I gotta ride with y'all and see if the feelings are mutual or what it's going on here. But they were like, man, the firemen, they don't be doing nothing. I'm like, oh, wow. They're like, they're just roadblocks for accidents. I was like, yo, that's crazy. They're roasting. It was like, we put the firemen in front of our cars to protect the blow in case somebody hits them. They ain't gonna move a whole fire truck into us. I'm like, man, y'all just want them to take the fall for real. The firemen are the ones taking the effort, and it's like, it is what it is. But I thought that was a good time. I can't wait to ride along with a fireman, man. Give me my little fireman hat. Let me spray somebody down for once. Wait, hold, no, pause. Wait, never mind. Don't do that. Anyway, I digress from that on today. Let me take a water sip. Let me do as the pastors say, turn to your neighbors, greet your neighbors while I drink some water here. Did y'all have fun talking among yourselves? Yep, talking among yourselves. How was your day? How are you doing? If you're in the chat, feel free to ask a question. Post a topic. Send me on my way. Something like that. Until I see something, we're going to hop into something my boy Christian Sir said. Actually, by the way, I don't know if I'm going to post this last episode. I did record. I tried to record Wednesdays with Will last Wednesday. So if y'all are listening to this on the chronological tip and you're like, you missed a Wednesday, what's going on? I did record, and I have about 3/4 of the episode done. But what had happened was my fiance had called me during the episode, and it goes to my phone, which is filming, and so it cut off the video right there. I tried to answer it, and then I just kind of was like, I was dealing with what we were doing, and I didn't really want to get around to editing. It was really just came down to my laziness. I was like, I ain't trying to edit these clips. And so I just kind of left it. So maybe I'll get around to it. One of these days it'll be a bonus random episode. But anyway, I did attempt to film. I don't want y'all to think I just forgot about y'all. Didn't cur, I thought last week was gonna be my last one, but I was like, let me get in one more here in October. It's October 1st, so let me get into one more episode, and I don't know. I might get into what we talked about at that episode at the end. Or maybe I'll punch it in at the end or something like that, because I don't know if I want to double duty it or whatever. But anyway, like I said, it is October 2nd. Hey, man, it's crazy. Already in Octubre. It's my wedding month. But, man, it's like the 10th month of the year. the year's literally almost over. And Halloween is just around the corner, man. If you're a veteran to the Willy Will the Third channel, you are familiar with my annual segment of rebuking Halloween costumes and Halloween decorations, either over at the Halloween City, the Spirit Halloween, or out here in the neighborhood streets. And I actually filmed one the other day, so be on the lookout for a new Spirit Halloween video. Did one with Alex the other day. It was a good time. Looked at some costumes, and I never run out of content there because there's always more ridiculous costumes every year. And but one thing I will say, it seems like Halloween is getting earlier and earlier. As far as, when I was a kid, Halloween started in October. So right about now, you can hit the Halloween stuff. You start seeing the commercials, you see the candy, you see some decorations, but I feel like decorations have gotten out of hand. I feel like I'm seeing way more decorations for Halloween than I ever have in my life. I'm seeing stuff with like it's close to Christmas level of decorations. Because when I was a kid, it went Christmas, Thanksgiving, then Halloween as far as how much people decorate. But now I think Halloween has surpassed Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is getting more disrespected now due to Halloween. Because we can't get into Thanksgiving until after Halloween, right? I mean, you can't have some Thanksgiving stuff up before October 31st. You look crazy. But then you can already have Christmas stuff up come November 1st. So it's like, basically after Halloween, we go straight to Christmas. Disrespect Thanksgiving. Oh, man. It sickens my stomach. I mean, Thanksgiving only gets 4 weeks. Because usually that fourth Thursday in November, so they don't get much time, man. Let Thanksgiving get what they deserve. But anyway, Halloween, all the decorations, man. I'm seeing neighborhoods. I feel like with Halloween, some people just feel like they just got to do the most. Like, how many goons and goblins can I just fill on this yard? Like, they don't even try to make it, match. They don't build any continuity to it. Like, usually Christmas is organized, or there's a light show, or there's something. But these Halloween decorations, they just throw these goons and goblins and skeletons and tombstones and coffins and everything just pile into the yard. I'm like, it looks like a redneck garage sales happening here, man. It looks terrible. You're bringing down the property value with all these decorations. What are we doing out here? And I guess it's like the capitalism society is really trying to capture Thanksgiving. Because I went to the store and I even saw some Thanksgiving greeting cards. I said, who's giving people thanks? Wait, did I say Thanksgiving? Pardon me. I went to the store and I even saw some Halloween greeting cards. I said, Halloween? Who's giving people Halloween cards? Who's like, Happy Halloween? Like, are we giving Halloween gifts now? What does that look like? Just, here's a coffin. I just went ahead and bought you a coffin, Grandma. I know you're getting up there. Would that be like the most disrespectful gift? Get somebody a coffin? I mean, it'd be kind of nice because those are expensive for real. It's like, let me get my pops a coffin for his birthday. I feel like you would look at him away like, come on, man. It's kind of disrespectful, but also it's really kind. Because if you were to tell me, hey, I'm gonna give you $10,000, I'd be like, bet. That's about. I mean, coffins are thousands of dollars for sure. So, but yeah, man. Thanksgiving. I mean, why I keep saying Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving greeting cards are also nuts, but at least it makes sense because I can be like, I'm thankful for you, right? Or here's what I'm thankful for our relationship. Like the spirit of Thanksgiving lines up. It checks out for us to have Thanksgiving cards, but Halloween cards, what are we saying? Happy Halloween? Like, you're like a devil to me. Like, what are we saying? Happy Halloween. You remind me of Satan because you like, what are we writing in these Halloween cards? That's what I'm saying. What are we saying in here? What's on the flap on that? What are we talking about, man? I don't get this. They just they will capitalize anything, man. There's some holidays it's like, don't make sense. Cards make sense, number one. Birthday, happy birthday card is number one out of the gate. That's the most it makes sense. Happy birthday, it's all about you. Christmas, secondary, I'll give you that one. Happy or Merry Christmas. Do you say Happy Christmas? Merry Christmas. Here's the card, blah, 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 blah. Usually, though, outside of birthdays, the cards are generally the means to the end. In other words, so if it's your birthday, the card is usually relevant to the gift and to you. Maybe there's money in there or something. Usually when it's Christmas, it's just kind of an additional gift. For example, when I was a kid, I got like maybe 4 or 5 Christmas gifts that were wrapped up, and then I would get a card that was just on top or whatever. So the card really didn't provide any gift for me. I mean, and now that may be different for some of y'all. Maybe some people got lazy family members. They just going to give you I've gotten that too. Just a Christmas card with some money inside. I mean, I ain't complaining about that. But generally, the card isn't the main course if you're getting many Christmas gifts. Whereas birthday, it generally is. And then they might say something nice in there, and you got to, oh, you shouldn't have. And it's usually all on you, the attention. So I think that's also it. There's a little more pressure to pop that card open and read it to the class when it's your birthday, because it's like you're the main character on that. When it's Christmas, you're just you're the side piece. You're an extra. It's about everybody. It's really about Jesus for real. So everybody open their gifts. You can't take that long. So we can't really focus on your card. It's just like, oh, you just open it up, you acknowledge it, act like you're reading it for a second, and put it down while you're really thinking of, man, there's no money in here. These son of a guns, man, they're little miserable little. So I don't know. That's what I thought about with the Halloween and Christmas. And so, but yeah, Halloween decorations seen it way more than ever. So I don't know. We'll get into this for a little bit before we go, man. I have no news on today, but I will recap a little bit from last week, that this unreleased episode. We talked about idioms. I talked about how my homie Christian Sir is an English second language guy, and so there's a lot of idioms in our language that he failed to understand initially, because apparently we're like the only culture that be doing them like that, So, break a leg, it's like, that sounds terrible, but it's a good thing. It means good luck, right, or whatever. I don't want to cry over spilt milk. Barking up the wrong tree. Those kind of examples. And so we kind of ranked the most ridiculous idioms to the most, like, okay, this one makes sense. For example, like some of them are just confusing. Like, I don't want to beat around the bush. You just have to know what that means. You if you just heard that as a thing, put yourself in the mind of an English second language person. You hear beat around the bush, you're just like, why are we beating a bush? It doesn't make any sense. But in other words, a one like better late than never makes perfect sense. That line explains itself. Yes, it's better to be late than never, to never show up. Or something like a blessing in disguise. That's a common one. That also is pretty self-explanatory. But, y'all heard something like bit off more than you can chew? So it was a fun game. I recommend you to do this to people who are English second language or aren't familiar with idioms. Try to get them to guess what one means and see if they can figure it out. Because generally it's going to be kind of tricky. A penny for your thoughts? That's a tough one. I think that's number one on most ridiculous. Like, I don't really even know what that means. Penny for your thought. I guess it just means to think of something. Hold on, these have definitions. It means if you haven't said much and someone else wants to know what you're thinking, perhaps because they're worried about you. Oh, that's what that means. Tell me what you're thinking. I didn't even really know what that meant. So I think that's number one on there, man. There's another, hit the sack. Sounds terrible, but I mean, it just means go to the bed. Who's saying these anymore, man? God forbid you're one of those like Southern people who had those other crazy, idioms that don't even make sense. It's like, you can't mix a fat hog with a skinny one. It's like, what? What does that even mean? But anyway, I also went to ChatGPT and I asked it to create a list of fake idioms, which most of these sound like they would be legit. Sound like something I could hear somebody saying. Because, man, it's my life goal to create an idiom. That's why, out here in these streets, man, I'm trying to drill that branding in here. So I want the culture to be saying we out here in these streets. I want that to be part of my legacy that I pass on. It's like, oh yeah, Will's that out here in these streets guy. So, I'm trying to be the next person to create a new bussin' term, Whoever created bussin', right? They're out here like, yeah, I did that. I want to be like that. So Maybe AI can help me. Here, ChatGPT, I asked for some fresh idioms. It said, chasing clouds. Stop chasing clouds and focus on what is in front of you. What do you guys think that means? Chasing clouds. Apparently, it's wasting time on impractical ideas or dreams. And then there's one, counting raindrops. He's just counting raindrops when he should be looking at the store. Counting raindrops means worrying about small details instead of the bigger picture. Do one more. Dancing on a tightrope. That one, I feel like y'all can figure it out. Okay, so in negotiations, he's been dancing on a tightrope but keeping his balance. That means navigating a risky situation with grace. So, yeah, I mean, these aren't bad. You know, we got wearing a rainbow, fishing for fireflies. They try to keep whispering to the wind. All these have that little alliteration to it too. They're trying to be ChatGPT's get a little too cute, man. They trying to get them alliteration going, so it sounds all sweet to the ear, man. But anyway, that's on today. I think we're gonna put a bow on this one. It's a good episode. Again, I might be on a hiatus, man. I ain't gonna promise you that I ain't gonna make any promises one way or another. I ain't gonna say I'm never making an episode again or none of that type beat. But I'm definitely not going to agree to an episode every week. Next week, I don't know. Maybe I will do a before wedding. We'll see. Just no more promises are being made. I had been pretty consistent for like the past month, other than of course last week now because of the edit situation. But I don't want to rely on that. I don't want you guys to rely on that consistency. That's what I'm saying. So it might dial back a little bit, just a little bit, as I get my feet together in marriage. I might take October off, man. I am in October, so that was the original idea, take October off. But I might take now the rest of this month off, man. Just really focus in on God and my spouse and try to get my feet together with marriage and stuff. And so I might see you at a later date, but no promises, man. We'll see. Maybe I'll go on to glory and ain't no more Wednesdays with Will. But for now, I'm gonna sign off until we meet again. I'll be posting some content here and there, maybe as I see fit, because I think Wednesdays with Will is also going to be my comedian and like kind of comedy page for now. So make sure if you're not following Wednesdays with Will podcast, you're doing it, because what are you doing for your life? You can also see us on Spotify. Listen to some old episodes. I know y'all ain't caught up. Y'all ain't seen all the episodes. So y'all can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, subscribe to it there so you won't miss it when I come back. Right? Because you don't know. It could be 1 week from now. It could be 2 years from now. I'm like, let me get back on that Wednesdays with Will. And you wouldn't want to miss it, would you? Because I'm going to have a lot to talk about if it's been 2 years. That's for sure. So you can do that. You can also go to YouTube's and watch the video format of the podcast. Well, thank you to all my guests and hosts, past, present, and future. Thank you to Brandon Kahn for that intro and Tyson Russ for the outro. This is another hot and ready episode of Wednesdays with Will. I'm your host, Willy Will III. Thank you for joining us on today. Now may the Lord and the God of peace, who crushes Satan underneath his feet, be with you and beside you as you go away from this place and on to your life. Amen and amen. Everybody standing. May God bless you. May God keep you. We'll see you later.